All right, cool. So I figured we should. I just threw these in. There's no special order to this whatsoever. All right, so I guess we'll start with magic missiles. Where would you put this?
Right, I know where you would put it. I don't think you're a fan. Oh no, it's air. Is that
I
airstrike?
would put it. I'd put it B. This is where I would put
Yeah,
it. I'd put it right in the middle. I don't. It's okay. It's not bad.
yeah,
But basically, you use 6 dough to fucking cast it out, and honestly, it's you kill a full lane off. Super helpful. But if
yeah.
you're not in like that double time of dough, you're just not getting enough dough on hand to do any kind of counter attack after you destroy everything.
Exactly. 6-2 is a big investment, and unless you're taking out like maybe a whole lane of troops, then is it really worth it? But I mean, I don't know if you know, but I do use it in my deck. But um, I like it for sort of building up over time. In the longer matches because you can wipe out. I know it's been nerfed, but you can still wipe out nearly a whole map. But yeah, I would agree with B. I don't think it's a great card, but it's helpful in certain situations for sure.
Yeah, it's right in the middle, definitely. Next is antifreeze. All right, so it is 2. It does cost 2 dough. So
Right.
it costs before I would have had this like up here.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
1 dough, what it did, it healed your lane and stopped yetlings at the time. But where would you put it right now?
Right now, I would put it maybe B again, yeah. I don't want
I
to
would
say
go
C because
B. I would go B or yeah, B or C. That's where I'm
yeah,
like in between the C. I'm in
yeah,
between
just
with
place it
this.
there. B minus. Yeah, but it lasts like 30 seconds or something, didn't it?
It does last 30 seconds now, so it is a good card. It only costs 2 dough too, so
Yeah,
I just at the point with them increasing yetlings, I don't see myself using antifreeze as much because I don't see yetlings as much. Yetlings
no,
used to
not
be a
really.
staple in everybody's deck, and now it's kind of like here and there.
Yeah, it's not as prominent, definitely. But there is, we'll go on to mad scientist, obviously, but there is lots of mad scientist. Well, I'm seeing it at my levels, a lot of mad scientist about, but
Oh, they're all
uh,
over the place, but I
yeah,
I use nighttime in my deck, so it's
exactly.
like,
That's exactly what I was going to say.
like
Nightfall's so good.
oh, that's gonna be S when we make it. I'm not even
Absolutely.
gonna. All right, let's just
Absolutely.
put it there now. I see where it
Go
is.
for it. S.
That's where that
S tier
belongs.
card.
I've been using that card for so long. It took me so I tried so many different combinations with this card because it's such a good card. One cost, you wipe out all range of all characters, especially for all the like when I was a newbie going in against Vanguard decks. Vanguard's non-existent after that point, and it was just and as you said, running a short cycle deck too, just putting that in
So
there.
you can basically keep it nighttime all the time, whenever you run a quick cycle deck, and the likes of Inhumane Cannonball as well. It reduces the range in that. Um, and Mad Scientist. The Mad Scientist comes right to the tower, with the night time, so it kind of
Exactly.
takes it out. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
It definitely pulls the
Tier
mad
card.
scientist out from back of the towers too. Like if
Mm-hmm.
they put him right behind and you just can't get to him because you don't want to take damage from the towers. Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps I find because I use fish tank and bunch of piranhas. When I use
Uh-huh.
nighttime, it when you use fish tank, only as you know, 2 fish are going up the lane. If you
Mm-hmm.
use nighttime, you can stop the tower from instantly killing your piranhas, and it helps get more piranhas there quicker. And that's how I see it. And I use bunch of piranhas too, so it just kind of like lets them all run up to the tower when only it can hit one at a time right in front of its face. So
Got you.
yeah,
Uh-huh. The one thing that I have noticed about nighttime that I've got to watch in my deck with Cybok, if I place Cybok down, then place nighttime down, then the Cybok doesn't do its teleport charge.
yes,
So you've got to sort of wait up, whenever you're using it. But I totally agree. I think the potential in that card's just amazing for window.
just pair it with the right cards, it'll be perfect. That's basically what it takes, especially with all those damn clown cycle decks too. The clown
Yeah,
card decks. That's basically they use that in those as well. All right, so let's go to next to Barbara X. Originally, she was here when I first played.
yeah,
Then somehow she jumped up to here,
yeah,
and now I'm gonna put her here just because I don't think she's that good anymore.
exactly. I was like really scared of at the start of the new balance updates because of the speed. It was just like, wow, what's happening here? How did this get so fast?
She got a mod.
But yeah, but I think there's a lot of ways to counter Barbarix. I mean, a lot of people are. I think you're using it, the discombobulate array.
Yes.
Um, you've got Troop Trap. Obviously, I use Jetpack as well. Like you just pull it to the tower, and the tower takes it out within kind of a few seconds. So, yeah, I would agree. I think C. It's a card I would never use in a deck. It's not my kind of card at all. But I'm
No.
being a bit biased there. But
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I never saw any point in using her. She, the delay too that she gets now before she charges out, you have time to run
yeah,
back to your tower. So it's just
yeah,
like you run back underneath your tower, let it hit you, and just let the towers melt her. She does have a lot of health.
exactly.
I'll give her that. She's got a bunch of health. Takes a while to
Yeah,
kill
she's
her.
tanky. Yeah, I think C's fair.
All right, so Be Mine is next. I've always liked this card. I've never like had an opportunity to actually like. I've never seen it. I've never wanted to use it in one of my decks, basically.
Hmm.
But like,
I'm the same.
I like it. I want to put it
Uh,
here, but I want to put it
yeah.
here. I think it belongs in C. I don't know if you agree with me.
I don't know. I've not used it enough to say either way, but what I do know is that it's very, very helpful against clown cart decks because I think I might be wrong, but I think like at similar levels, it can actually just take out the clown cart.
That's a good
Um,
point, and you just brought in. You brought that up. The Mammoth card too. This I've
yeah,
seen a lot
so
more people using this because of the Mammoth card in
yeah,
decks.
so I've not got enough knowledge on the card to actually say, yeah, it's definitely a B card, but I've got a feeling that I might go B for that, but
I'd go B
let's
for
see
the
how
dough
this goes.
cost and the damage. That kid you were talking about in streaming, I can't ever. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but the Emara kid.
Yeah,
He uses B mine in his deck, and it does. He puts it right underneath the commander while you're just hitting him, and just to give you a little bit more chunk of health, because that does a chunk of health, especially if it's at a high level. It's
exactly.
ridiculous. They did nerf it though, where now it's when you walk away, it's reduced damage. So that's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
downside to it. But the cost and the damage output you get for it is good. And you can counter tank cards with it very well. Tank arena, any of the tank cards really.
yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. I think B's quite
I'm gonna
adequate.
I'm gonna laugh so hard because we're gonna be like filling up B with a bunch of stuff. We're gonna run out of room. That's what's gonna
Right. Okay.
happen.
Okay.
All right, so next is the Beehive.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on it?
Thoughts? I would say personally, I would say C, but I don't know. What do you think?
I would go C. I agree with you. Uh,
Hmm.
you get the aerial bees out of it. It's I always like the cards even in Clash where like you put out cards and it just like the fish tank it just disperses and you have
Hmm.
constantly running pressure on a lane at least of some kind. And there's
Hmm.
not a lot of units that can counter aerial units, so it's a good card. I just don't like the dough cost. I'm not really
Yeah.
intimidated by a beehive like a beehive at all. So I think if
Hmm.
it was like five, like the fish tank, I would consider it a better card.
I know the B's got a buff as well, but is that also?
I don't think it's with these.
Um,
I think it's with the next card we're going to talk about.
yeah. Cool.
But right now, like they don't get any special buffs. It's just they're an aerial unit that deals good damage.
Hmm.
If you use nighttime,
Hmm.
it's nice because you can start. They stop on units right above them, and you can pile up
Yeah.
bees at least that way.
Paired with the right cards. I mean, but it's going to cost you a lot of dough to get that push, I suppose, isn't it? I was playing some dude yesterday that was using Beehive and Yeti. I mean, that's like something like 13 dough cost for a push, But if if you get it right, I suppose it's effective. But
Yeah.
nah, I don't think it's that great a card.
No, I don't think it's that good of a card either. It's just I'll give it a C just because of the fact that there's not many units that can counter aerial. That's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Otherwise, if there were, it'd probably be a D card in my opinion, because that one cost, any you could counter that with so many different ways to blow up that beehive, and the timer on it so slow. I think they need to boost the timer on them spawning. It would make it a little bit more of an effective card because it takes way. I don't know what the time is for it, but it takes too long.
yeah. One good tip you did give me a while back when we were speaking, that you can troop trap one of the bees, and it
Yeah,
actually gives you like the full beehive back as well. I don't think a lot of people know that, to be honest. Well, certainly not at my level.
well, yeah.
But
Anybody, you can use that on the, like I said, the fish tank, and that you use the takeaway card from the shuffle, and yeah, you
okay,
get a brand new building. You can just, I've had up to
yeah,
4 fish tanks out on one time for a push.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it definitely piles up. Especially what's nice about using it with fish tank, you only take away one piranha out of the two that spawn. The only problem with the bee is you
Uh,
take one bee away. That's literally it. Like
yeah.
then you gotta wait for the next one to spawn. It's just the dough cost. 6 is too high for that card. It's not that good. All right, so next is the bunch of bees. Um,
Yeah.
I actually had a lot of fun with this card.
Okay.
I would put it like B or A range.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but paired with bananas, I surprised so many people. Like people like the deck you use when you go and charge underneath tower. I'd basically
Uh-huh.
want you to do that. So I'd save up 9 dough. I'd spawn the bees and then spawn bananas right above you. And I'm not joking, it would melt in like 4 seconds. You'd just be dead.
Really? Right. Okay. I'm gonna need to watch out for that.
Try it
Yeah.
out sometime. It's the funniest. Nobody expect when they expect it. It's hard, but if you can like
Uh-huh.
get it where you get 9 dough out with the bananas and this, it's such a fun combo to pull on people.
Okay. So we're going A with them.
I would
With
go,
that.
yeah, I'll put an A, just because the extra
Okay.
damage boost they get and everything. They are very
Yeah.
easy to kill, so I could see why a lot of people wouldn't like them. But the damage output you get from them is amazing. And like I said, if any of you try to use this with the banana card, you won't regret it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
All right, so next is I already forgot the Bloodthirst. Haha, I remembered. Bloodthirst is fun.
It's a fun
I
card.
would put it honestly. I'd put it here. I don't know if you'd agree with me. I guess a lot
Yeah.
of people would probably say I would say here. Here, really, it wouldn't
I
be.
don't. I don't rate it at all. You only really see. Well, I've seen it with like Barbarix and some Vanguard decks. I think
Yeah,
it does increase the damage quite well with them, but it's very niche. No, I would agree. I would agree
I'd
with
put
that.
it there. The dough cost is right for this kind of card for sure. I agree to the 3 code on it, but
Hmm.
I think it's only good with Van Gun. I think it paired really nicely when we were doing the draft royale when I played against Happy. He was using the Van Gun deck. I don't know if you remember with the Bloodthirst, and
Aye.
because we didn't have cards, we weren't all using the same, so it was harder to counter Van Gun that way.
Uh-huh.
It was very good for him because he'd get that. Plus, he had cheerleaders, so
Yeah. So
like. But
yeah,
other than
game
that,
over.
a fun combo I learned from Lamb actually is
Uh-huh.
Yetlings mixed with Chop Chop mixed with Bloodthirst. You get the extra damage because I don't know if you know. I'm pretty. Do you know that ice? If they're frozen, you deal a little bit more
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah.
So you
Double
used
damage or something.
Yetlings at the time, or any even Mad Scientists if you have Mad Scientists. I guess they both cost
Uh-huh.
3. Anything to freeze the enemy, and then you
Uh-huh.
drop Chop Chop and then put Bloodthirst on it. The damage output
Yeah.
is amazing. You could I've
Hmm.
one shotted a dude with like just more than half health.
Really?
Like yeah, a level
Wow.
10. I mean I'm level 12, but a level 10 I would that combo with the chop chop would just melt them in one hit. Like a little bit more than half the health just gone. And if they run
Okay.
away, you put it underneath. He just goes back and viz and follows them again and does the same thing. So
Hmm.
that's a fun. That's the
Does it
only
last?
combo.
What What's the length of time that thing lasts? Is
It
it just
lasts
until it
until he's
dies?
dead. Yeah.
Alright, cool. Okay. So it has got its uses, but I still agree with you. Indeed.
There's not enough combos to use with it at all.
Yeah.
All right. So next is Buck. He's the. I'd honestly put Buck here.
Yeah, he's the staple, isn't he? He's the sort of like
He,
go-to basic card. He
he's
does everything. He's a jack of all trades, isn't he? Really. So
basically that's basically what he is. He is the jack of
yeah,
all trades for sure.
yeah,
I don't really have much to talk. He's the most common card I can think of. He's literally
uh-huh.
even in a clash game he'd be a common card. Just
He'd be a common card. He's like the Clash version of Knight, isn't he? Really. He's just
oh yeah,
there.
definitely. He's just there
Uh,
exactly. He's the first card you get, and actually I don't know if
yeah,
he's the first card you. He's one of the first cards you get.
he's definitely one of the first cards, isn't he? Yeah. But he does hit AR as well, so you know.
His damage is very well. If you get his level high enough, he does some mean damage too. So
Yeah.
And the dough cost is nice. It's a cost 3 dough. He hits aerials, ground units, and what's great too is he stands right in front of the tower when he shoots, so he doesn't get hit by the tower. That's a very nice feature.
Yeah. And again, as we spoke about, nighttime brings him closer to the tower as well. So that's another use.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the pull him out. Yeah, if your tower's getting
Yeah,
hit,
yeah.
use the Nightfall card to bring him in. I do that all the time. It's because half the time I'm on the other side and I'm like, I don't want to drop anything over there right now. Maybe Caveman,
Hmm.
who, by the way, we could just talk about now. I put Caveman here, but that's just because it's one of my favorite cards in this game.
Yeah, I mean, all the top players that I come up against seem to use him, so he must be good, you know. But and for 2 duo, I think that he just like can.
He's heavy swinging when you pair it with nighttime because only melee units count anyway. It's just he's a mini tank that costs 2 dough. He's got a bunch of health.
Uh,
I have him level 12 now, but
nice.
it's just like if you're just using a gun on him and not using damage, it takes a while to kill him, and he gets a lot of
Mm,
swings in.
he does seem quite beefy, you know. He's good, especially for 2 duo. Yeah, I would agree.
All right, so next is Bunker. Now,
Mm,
what's your feelings? I got mixed feelings on bunkers, but what do you think?
when I come up against it, I hate it. When I play it, I hate it. So I don't know, B or A, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe you hate Elmas Noobs level 13. Goddamn bunker.
Yeah, I know, I know. That's what I come up against this morning. I'm still having nightmares, you know. But
But I think I would put this honestly. Me personally would put it here. I
okay,
I don't think it's that good of a card. It is good, but knowing how to get rid of it, like I use Discombobulator, I use Shutdown, I use Nighttime in my deck. This is a
yeah,
personal opinion. It's easy to stop a bunker for me. Discombobulator, you take away all the defense it really has, and you just can melt it that way. And Shutdown, if they dive in there, if they're low health, you Shutdown kicks them right out. So
you've got rear entry as well. It's quite good for like just landing in the bunker and taking out anything around about it as well when they try and sort of surround it. So yeah, I, yeah, B's fair, I think.
all right. So next is Catling Gun. I honestly put it here.
Yeah,
Do you agree? Because I don't. This card's kind of meh to
totally.
me.
Whenever I come up against somebody and they're using Catling gun, I just think, yes, I've got a chance here, you know.
It's a
So
waste
yeah,
of 3 dough.
exactly.
Nice. Like that's basically how
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
about that card. I
Yeah,
mean, if you're stupid enough to let someone stack like 6 on one side, you're going to be asking for it. And I guess if you
yeah.
pair it with cheerleaders, it could do well. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't really. It's kind of just a shitty card.
Yeah, it's
All right, so
what
cheerleaders. What do you think about cheerleaders?
up, originally I would have put them right up there. I, I'm thinking between A and B now. Maybe B. I don't know.
I'd give it A. Um,
Hmm.
I if you don't use a card that can like just get rid of them, you have to run under tower to do something about it. You're gonna have a hard time with someone that uses cheerleaders in your deck. But
Hmm.
now I'm using snipe in my deck. Um, So I use snipe, and basically I can just kill a cheerleader off as soon as they're spawned. And a lot of people,
Yeah,
like I know Zeke was using bubble shield to stop missiles because
yeah.
that's like the go-to for people. They're gonna pick missiles, but snipe's too quick to happen for someone to pop bubble shield over the cheerleaders unless they just constantly keep putting a bubble shield over them.
That's a really good point because I've been caught out a few times whenever I've been trying to take out the cheerleaders in a lane or something like that with my 1-800, and
Yeah.
because of the delay now, they can get the dome down in time. Whereas, as you say, with snipe, it'll take them out instantly. So yeah, good
As
point.
long as they're
But
not, as
yeah,
long as you have a high enough level card, that's that's how it's gonna
that's it.
be. But like Lambs, like when I go against Lambs cheerleaders, I don't know if he's still using cheerleader. I haven't played him in a while, but I would do it and it'd leave it like 1 health, and it was just like, ugh.
Right.
So if you have a strong enough snipe, it works. And plus, snipe only
Yeah.
costs 3 dough. Why waste 6 when you can waste 3 instead?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, you can use Napalm on her. I also use Sir Bomb in my deck now too. I've been
Cool.
using that a lot, so I can run underneath and just blow her up real quick and then run away.
Uh-huh.
Snipe's good to get
Yeah.
rid of like annoying units. Like if you see a buck spawn that you just can't take care of at the moment, you can just snipe them out.
Uh-huh.
Snipe's a very good card, but we're not even talking about
It is.
that. Might as well just put it up here. I would put
Just put it
honestly
up
put
there.
Snipe right here. I'd put it as an A card.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I come up against it quite a lot. I don't use it in my deck, but I do come up against it, and it's a great card, like for taking out Witch, Mad Scientist, anything like that. That's just you just want rid of. I'd say
Exactly.
it's instant. Yeah, I would agree.
Plus, you can hit the commander with it. So when I get him low
Yeah,
health, I'll put the second part of the Sir Your Dynamite into his hands, and then pop him with Snipe when they and it just pretty much kills him.
game over. Yeah. Hmm.
All right, so next is Chop Chop. I'm gonna put Chop Chop here.
Okay.
What do you think? Where would you put him?
Yeah, I would. I was gonna go D, but C's fair. I
I
think
go.
he's
He's
yeah.
got very good damage. You can surprise people. He can also one shot the clown car as well, as long as he's
Okay.
invisible. Yeah, he can. So if you go against the clown car, he can also do that. He can take out a big chunk of health on a tank. After that happens, it's kind of hard for him to go back invisible. But I mean, think about it. If they pair that when that invis card comes out, that's could be a whole different story. The one that makes the troops invisible. You could just make him re-invisible. I'm wondering how that's gonna work.
That's gonna be so weird, isn't it? It's gonna be like an episode of The Matrix or something like that, isn't it?
Exactly. I
Just
wonder if
completely
you could just do
invisible.
that and then he chunks him again right after that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I've not used them enough to comment, but when I come up against them, I usually win. So that's why I was basing it on that. But the clown cart's a fair point. Like if it takes a clown cart out for what is it, 4 door or something?
Yeah, for 4 dough, you can take out a
Yeah.
clown car as long as it's high enough level. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop saying that for the rest of this video. It's probably gonna slip out at one point, but like basically, like every other game like this, it just matters about card levels in the end.
Yeah.
You can win on lower card levels though. I'll get that's when you know you're a good player if you can do that. Oh, speaking of clown car, it's the next card up. Where would you put this?
Yeah. Honestly, I think because of the amount of like tank, like big tanky cards at the moment, like you've got I actually prefer Rex over Mrs. Rex coming out of a clown cart. I know that sounds
Me
bizarre, but
too.
you get the Rex out straight away. I also like Zeppelin coming out of the clown cart, and obviously we've got the new card, the Mammoth. I would say B or A, but I don't know what your thoughts are. Maybe that's because I'm a lower skilled player than you.
I'll go with B. I hate clown car. It's too RNG
Oh,
for me to use.
yeah, it is.
I would put it here in C, but we'll go with B for now. We'll put it in between where we are two things. But it's too
Okay.
RNG. It's easy to take care of. Well, it's easy for me. Like Discombobulate Array. More of you
Yeah.
all should use this card. It's a fantastic card, especially. I'll talk about it after when we get to it. But basically,
Okay.
that's the clown card. Like it's too RNG for me, so B is fine. Confetti the Yeti is up next. I would put him here.
Yeah, I don't rate it. I think it's too expensive for what it does. It's good when paired with like certain units, but I just feel the dual cost is just too expensive.
I do like the touch they did though with this update where they raised the health of the Yeti, and it lasts longer in the building form. But if you're using
Yeah.
decks like we use, when you have a short cycle with shutdown in it, you basically can shut down the building, and if you blow it up before he spawns, he doesn't spawn. It's just easy to get rid of if you're using shutdown, but it does have a lot more health, and it takes a lot longer for him to spawn out, or you can get your dough back up. So if you put him under tower just to sit there until he spawns, and you have enough dough, you could raise up to actually do a push with him. I don't,
Mhm.
but it's just the dough's too high for me. But I don't think
Yeah.
he should be cost 6 dough either though. So I think
Yeah.
seven's a fair dough, at least count for him. But
Hmm.
you're right. There's just not much you could pair against him, and he's very slow moving. Which if
Uh,
I hope they don't speed him up because God, that'll be
oh no.
scary. But
Yeah.
he's just too slow moving. It's nice to slow
Yeah.
people down, but
Yeah. Totally agree. I think he's a kind of lower level card. Yep. Absolutely.
and just to give you a tip, if you're playing him, you got to push going down a lane. Like say you drop a bunch of piranhas, you drop anything that he can run up and freeze. As long as he's
Hmm.
targeting you, you can just make him do a 180. So his back is facing all your units, and you can just kill him
Okay.
that way. I do that all the time on. Yeah, it's just he's very easy to counter.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think if they made him like with a one track mind, that'd be kind of cool. Like what I mean by that is he spawns and then he just walks down the lane and he'll stop and attack anything in front of him, but he won't turn around for anything either. He'll just
Mm.
keep walking forward until he hits your tower.
Yeah, yeah, that might make him a bit stronger, wouldn't
I
it?
think that would make him a stronger card for sure. And
Yeah,
you keep the. I think it'd be fair too. He'd still be really slow, so he's easy to deal with. He'd stop at units that are in front of him, but other than that, he just keeps going. I think that'd be a nice
yeah.
touch. I'm chuckling because I see what the next card is. So I'm gonna let you rate Cybuck since this is your
Right.
boy.
I'm not rating him that high because in case the developers watch this video and then nerf him, so I would say it's a D, and he needs buff immensely. He needs to be able to hit air. He needs to be able to hit everything. Take out all towers in one hit. Nah, but seriously, I would I would say honestly I would put him a B. I don't know what you think. You'd maybe go lower. Or
I love Cyborg too. He's such a fun card. I would
yeah,
agree with you putting him B. I don't think he's good enough to be A. Used right, he is. He's easy to stop his explosion, but if you catch somebody that's low on dough cost, they can't spawn anything to stop them. That at least that initial hit, and like what you like to do is pair it with bananas and just melt towers that way is a lot of
melt.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, and it's sort of like my deck's built around Cyborg as well, you know, because I've got shutdown in there as well. So when you're pairing it with the right cards, I took a guy out. I played a guy yesterday that he didn't notice that Cyborg had took his heal tower and had shut down his rage tower, so he just shot over like with like 1 HP of health, and then basically took out half the rage tower as well. So paired with the right cards, it's definitely a good card.
I was gonna say I would think we should put him at A actually. And the only reason why I say that is because he's one of the I think he's the only troop you can spawn anywhere on the map besides the Piranha Surprise.
Yep. Yeah.
I think just for that benefit is nice, and I think that
Mhm.
I don't know if you agree to that just to bump him up, but I think that's the only way to
Yeah.
bump him up. But maybe we're just being
Mm,
biased because we both like Cyborg.
maybe.
But
I do like him. And he's actually underrated in defense as well because he's charge. You know, he's actually got he can take out swarms. Like if you charge him onto a bunch of piranhas, he can just wipe them out as well. It's not just single hitting units, you know. So he's actually quite decent in defense.
I agree with you on that. I actually have used him in defense, and he is very good at countering swarms, like you say. All right, so let's go to the next one. The Choppa. I say D.
I've got a few people that seem to love him over Discord and stuff. Love that card over Discord, but I just don't see the value in it. No.
I guess you get a shutdown out of it, which is nice. It's just automatic. It shuts down the tower for a certain amount of time. But like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a cycle like that. Eventually, you can use your tower in a short second or two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just thinking it from playing against it. But yeah, no, I'm not intimidated. It doesn't do enough damage. It
No.
it's fair where it's at though, where the dough cost is for what it does because it does use shutdown on towers. So
Mhm.
but the damage output is not there. All right, so next is Discombobulate Array. I'm already biased and I'm putting it here because I love this
Put him
card.
straight in.
Yep, I'm putting it
I want to
straight
ask
in.
you a bit about this because what's the advantage over Discombobulator really over the likes of Troop Trap? Why would you?
It costs 3 dough, doesn't cost 4.
Uh huh.
I don't care about respawning the other card out. That's just me personally though.
Yeah.
If I'm trapping a card, you have a chance to not actually get it and I don't see many people using big tanky cards and I think that's where Troop Trap's only benefit is if you get a high costing card that's going to cost more than 4 dough to put it out. That is the only benefit
Uh
to
huh.
Troop Trap. Discombobulate Array takes away the tank's pretty much the defenses like what it reflects and it basically he still has its health but you stop
Mhm.
that. You can also if witch is walking up on your tower you can drop that and you won't tower won't get cursed when you kill it. When
Uh huh.
no riot Pete is coming up the lane you can drop discombobulator on him and whatever units he's blocking are just going to kill him. I use
Okay.
piranhas. I mean, so major fire is a big weakness for me. I can pop that on him. Boom, he's
Uh
dead.
huh.
Also, if anybody uses Doctor Doom, you can pop it on Doctor Doom, and he won't drop the big AOE damage that he does. It'll only be his trail of whatever was there. So
Okay. Cool.
if you kill him with the discombobulator array on,
Mhm.
his whole basic of getting that big AOE area of poison is just nullified. So
Nice.
that's another
I think
reason to
it's
use
doing
it.
that. That's that because I do see a lot of like high level players using Disco Ray. I think I'm going to try it out. I'm getting to try and level mine up, use it. But
I was gonna say if you have trouble with Killbot, he's a perfect counter to the big ass Killbot. You can literally just pop him, he becomes a big blob, and you can kill it. It's
mhm,
super easy. You're not taking any damage. Your troops aren't getting hit because, as you know, with the Killbot range of damage, it's just anything in front of it, he's killing. So
uh-huh.
you can also stop the clown card. I could just go on. The card's
Yeah,
fantastic and everybody should use it. You can counter so many things. If you drop Rage Tower, you don't have Rage anymore, and they have a Zeppelin coming up on your tower, pop it with the
uh-huh.
Discombobulator Ray. You're going to hold it off for at least 12 seconds, 10, 12 seconds from me getting to your tower. And by then, you're going to put enough damage in it. By the time it gets to your tower is going to help you finish it off before it really does damage.
Cool.
There's a bunch of uses, in my opinion. You can kick people out of bunkers. It's great.
Mhm. You've sold me. You've sold me on that one.
Like, honestly, that's where it only costs 3 dough. It's fantastic. It counters so many high level cards, especially if you have a problem with this guy right here. If you have a problem with him, I'm
Yeah.
forgetting his name, and that's why I'm not saying it. But
Hurtbot.
thank you. With Hurtbot, you could stop him in his tracks from doing anything and just kill him off because he has a lot of health.
Mhm.
Why have him on my hand? I'd put him here. What do you think? Would you put him in A?
Yeah, I wouldn't be, but I'll go away with you. But yeah, he's annoying to face, very annoying. I think because I run nighttime in my deck, he's not just as obnoxious, but if that's out of hand or whatever, it's sometimes you think you've killed him, then you walk away and he's still shooting poison at you, and it's just go away. But yeah, he's an annoying card to face, for sure.
I put him here only because after his buff, he did get a buff in this past update. Whether it's small and insignificant, and a lot of people think about it, but he did. I don't know if you know, but now Hurtbot he's like Buck. He's got like the same range as Buck does. So if you're hiding from Hurtbot underneath behind your tower, like some people do at times, he can run up
Uh-huh,
and he'll be where Buck stands, and he'll still shoot you with poison, so he doesn't run in underneath the towers like he used to. So before he didn't have the range, so he'd go underneath the tower and the tower would start killing him. Now he's got the long enough range to actually do something, and he's got a good amount of
uh-huh.
health, and he's
Yeah,
very annoying.
an air card as well, so there's not a lot of things that kill air apart from your commander and maybe Buck or something. So bees. But yeah, yeah, I think he's fair then.
Plus, like I said, the only aerial units in like Buck, and there's probably another card I'm forgetting that deals with aerial units, but like I said, there's not
Yeah,
many.
bees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Other aerial units in Buck, I think that is it.
yeah. I think that's it. Yeah.
Besides Mini Mander, but we'll get to Mini Mander. All right, so next is Dough Barrel. I'll let you go first. Where would you put this?
Um, I would put it maybe between C and B. I would go, to be honest at the moment. It's not a card that I would use that much. I don't know. I think if you keep the pressure on the commander and don't allow him to actually get his dough, then it's pretty useless and it's a waste of 4 dough. But it does have its uses in certain decks, I guess. But it's not a card that I use. But I don't know what you think.
I put it here. I agree with between C and D, but only between C and D is if you have a high enough card like level
Uh-huh.
dough barrel. You get 1 to 2 extra dough at the cost of 4. I don't think it's worth it, to be completely honest.
Right.
It's worth it in like the double dough, like when it gets to like 1 minute and you're just getting 2 times the dough. That's when it's nice.
Uh-huh.
But then you only have a minute to
Uh-huh.
do anything really with it. And if you're putting pressure, like you said, it's utterly useless for the other commander to do anything with it. I just don't like the chance of only getting 1 extra dough for the cost of 4. What is worth that? You still have to collect the dough and waste time to do that. So
Exactly. Yeah, and as you said, in the final minute, normally it's quite frantic anyway. The map's quite busy, so you're not normally going to get a chance to collect that dough. So yeah, I agree. I think it's
it's just a
a
waste.
card I would
Don't,
use.
don't use it all, you new players. I think the only use I saw of it was when people were using it paired up with the magic missile and the 1-800
Yeah.
combo. Other than
Uh-huh.
that, I mean, it does not have its uses in my opinion. All right, so next is Doctor Death. Where would you put him?
Yeah, I used to run him in my deck actually, and I did find him useful against like I know you run Fish Tank. I found him quite useful against those sort of decks.
Big swarm
Um,
decks,
but
yeah.
I, I don't know. They reworked him, didn't they? And he's is he one less do now? And
Oh, there he is. No, he still costs 5. I don't think they did anything to
oh
him.
sorry, oh sorry,
No, no
they
worries.
reworked him.
I'd put him here. I he does have his uses. He's a nice
Mhm.
cost. That poison lasts forever.
Yeah,
It is useful. I'll tell you what. It's useful in that mammoth event that they had, the 2 times dough event that they had. I forgot the name of it,
yeah.
but he's
It's
super
got
useful in that.
yeah. His uses definitely.
He's easy to avoid and damage, but if you can like pop it on somebody right on top of them, especially if they're like trying to die, if they're right on top of your tower, it just wipes swarms. Anything on it is just gonna die.
And if you place him right as well, you can sort of get his poison trail to take out troops when he's chasing the commander. So if they've got like a witch coming down the lane or mad scientist or something like that, then you can get the poison trail to wipe them out too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's got its uses.
All right, so next is up is the Zeppelin.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah, just well, personally for me, the fact that there's not that many air hitting troops, if you don't have your rage, if you're not running discombobulator ray, I would say maybe an A. I don't know what you think.
I'll go with you on that just because you're right. There's not much to counter aerial units right now at all.
Hmm.
There is a card in this in missiles, the missile turret. By far, I think it's such an underrated card. They did make it
Hmm.
worse though now, but we'll get to it eventually. But you're right. It paired up with if you can get it in the clown car combo where you get 2 out at one time, that's mean.
Hmm.
If you pop it out right when someone is finished using their rage tower, it's very hard for them to
Exactly.
stop it. Um, I'd definitely put it for A. I was originally using this in my for one of my first decks, which was Cybug Jetpack Teleporter when it was OP,
Uh-huh.
in Yetlings and stuff like that, where you just get underneath tower and you dive it, and by the time they're finished using Rage, you pop Zeppelin out, and it was just like you'd get
Oh,
a tower.
and it does a lot of damage very quickly whenever it's on the tower, you know. So yeah,
They
I
did.
agree.
I don't
That's
know if
solid.
it's new for the update, but did you notice? Say if you have one tower down and you spawn it right over their dough barrel, it just attacks the tower. It doesn't even move in.
Really?
Yeah, I noticed it. I don't, it's that's new because it used to keep moving in at the tower, but now if you have a tower down and you spawn it like right at the corner closest to the tower, right, it should be right over the dough barrel. You'll hit the tower and the zeppelin will not move towards it, so it won't even get hit by the tower like it normally is supposed to. So I don't know if that was meant to be in the game, but it is a thing right now. So
It's now. Right, okay. Okay. So look out for more zeppelins then.
next, I would say drill. Next is Drilltron. I'd put it here.
I don't rate it. Don't rate it at all. Just one A.
Just throw it off
Don't
the
rate
map,
it.
throw it off the screen.
Yeah, don't even put it there.
It's
It's
gonna
an
go.
A.
We'll leave it there because that's where it belongs in below.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thought. It's a good counter fish tank and beehive. Maybe
Hmm.
against. It's also good against the inhuman cannonball, but it's gonna be the right level. And
Yeah.
even then, it won't even fully kill it off sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Not
think
a lot
D
of
is
people
fair.
running the likes of Rex and stuff like that. It kills. I think it kills Rex eggs and things like that as
It
well.
does kill Rex eggs, but like he's not
Yeah.
many people are doing Rex.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
not. It
Hmm.
doesn't have enough uses to be useful. And maybe if you knock the dough cost down to 3, I could.
Hmm.
I could maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'd make that too good of a card though. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just too sort of like one use, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like
Well, if you had it like 3 dough where you're on a short cycle deck, you could just keep popping a tower with it.
true. Yeah. Hmm.
All right, so Fish Tank's up next. One of my favorite cards, which they nerfed sadly. I guess it deserved a nerf, but whatever. I'd put it here.
Yeah. It would have been an ace before the nerf. I think. Would you agree with that?
I'd put it in S before the nerf 100%. Everybody was using it. I can't even say I was the first one to
Yeah.
use it, but I know I was using it before everybody, a lot more people were using it. But this is a fit. I still use it now, even though it got nerfed. It's still got its uses for me, and it's very nice to. I actually use it to counter people using. I want people to use rage on it now. I want people to use cards to get rid of it, just to waste the time in the dough because I have a bunch of piranhas I run now, so I can just pop that in the other lane.
Exactly. It's like a sort of bait card as well, isn't it?
For me, it is now. Before it was like my pretty much my golden ticket to win was using fish
Mhm.
tank, but for some reason the slower time count and the one less wave you get does make a difference. I didn't think it would, but it can't really describe it. You have to. It's just by using it before and now there is a difference
Mhm.
using it,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
noticeable.
It's still hard to face. I mean, even after the nerf, as you know, I don't use it, but whenever I come up against it, it's still a hard card to face.
Yeah,
It seems to have a lot of health.
a lot of health, and you get two troops out of it every time, which is great.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and then paired with the shuffle card, taking away just one wave, one piranha from that fish, you'll get another fish tank in your hand. All right. So next is Greevil. I think I'd put Greevil at C. Just I would have put him here, just because I'll put him here because now he costs one less dough.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, because I use quite a lot of cards that can take him out easily. I use like rear entry. I love using rear entry and the Greeble and hitting the towers and the commander and just going straight in there.
Yeah.
It's really aggressive, but um, it just saves that hassle of getting the dual cost up. And I don't. It's not a card I would personally use either. I don't.
No,
I,
I don't
I,
see it use. It was super useful in the Mammoth event, though. Oh
yeah.
man, it was unbelievably a good card in that. But
Mhm.
other than that, yeah, no, I keep it here only because of the one dough cost. Otherwise, if it still costs five, it would 100% be a D. I like you. I use a bunch of cards that can just get rid of it. That doesn't make it an issue for me. Next is Healbot. I guess where would you put it?
I come up against it quite a bit, and see, end game, it can be really, really useful. But I don't know if it warrants a place in my deck. I might put it at B, but I don't know what you think.
I agree with you. Actually, I was thinking B for this card as well. You're right. It's super useful at the end of games. I like you. I don't see a need for me to use this in my deck at all. I don't see where its uses other than that. For if you go, you just have to be lucky to go against someone that doesn't have cards to get rid of it. Like how I'm using
Yeah,
Snipe now. Snipe just one shots it. So if someone's
yeah,
using that, I'll just snipe it out of the air and go about my day, and it only costs me three dough while it costs you four to put him out.
yeah. I've lost a lot of matches to somebody running Healbot in their deck at the end, and I've just not been able to hit it like with a magic
Mm-hmm.
missile, with a airstrike or something, and my commander's low in health, so I can't go in. So yeah, I think it's got its uses definitely at the end game.
All right, so next is the Igloo. I honestly, for me, I'd be between B and C for this card. The range isn't there. They did buff the range. It's not very noticeable, but it does freeze units.
Yeah.
There's that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess, like I said, I'd be between B and C. What would you put it?
Personally, I would put it in C, but
C it goes.
yeah, I think it's just slightly worse than the bunker. I would say. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think
The
it's
range of the
better than the
bunker is
bunker?
fantastic. It has more health. I think the bunker has more health. I'm not 100%. Let me check real quick, actually. I'll go look at both
Okay.
cards. So I'm going to be judging a level 11 Igloo card, which currently has 6,225 health,
Uh-huh.
to my level 11 bunker, which, oh, it's the same amount of health. Would you look at that?
All right. Okay.
It's got the
Freezes.
same. The only uses is freezing, and basically you can freeze out cards, which is great, especially when they're using tanks and stuff. But other than that, no. I mean, you can freeze aerial. You can hit aerial units and freeze aerial units. That's why I was between B and C. It's like it's
Maybe. I was going to say maybe I put it in B. I don't know. Just the fact that it hits air as well. If it gets Zeppelin and things like that.
all right.
So
Yeah, let's put it there. Because like I said, I was between B and C for this card because that's where it would,
okay.
in my mind, go. But we'll leave it in B. And yeah, only because of the freezing effect, really. Especially if they have a Rex popping up on your tower, you just freeze the Rex and let the tower kill it
Yeah.
off or let a unit kill it off. All right. Infestation Mine. Where would you put this?
Personally, I would put that in C.
I agree.
Maybe even. Yeah. I was going to say maybe even D, but C, I think because it does do a lot of damage if you walk over it with your commander, but I think you just walk back to the towers and the towers take it out. So um, yeah, I'm not a big mine player to be honest, so uh, I don't really
Me
like it.
neither. I did see a mine idea. They called it the Minesweeper deck. I saw it on Reddit. and it was pairing all the mines up with the cowboy. And so like when they ran away, he'd pull the commander onto all three mines. You know how hard that is to do? I mean, it's possible, but maybe with the new update with the sheriff, it's different because I know he got a buff. I haven't really
Yeah,
used him too much to like see what that buff actually does, but I know he got
I've come up
he got some
against him
kind of
a
buff.
couple. I come up against him a couple of times, and I was like, oh, this thing's got some range now, you know, and it's quite annoying.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know. I've not used him enough to sort of rate him at the moment. But I know he used to be D, but I might bump him up a level. I don't know.
I'm gonna keep him C because I do find him annoying now. Because I did go,
Yeah.
it's just like he's not very intimidating still. But I don't know. Maybe there's a good combination out there that someone will find that'll work.
Yeah, I think that mine thing is a good. I heard somebody saying about B mine and sheriff. I think it was actually lowercase. It actually said he was trying it out a combination with the sheriff and B mine. But as you say, it's going to be pretty tricky to pull off, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's hard to get that kind of thing like comboed out. It's possible, and it just has to be the right circumstance, really. Plus, you're using seven dough to pull off a combo like that, like, and you want to try to do it as quickly as possible. So,
Hmm.
but an infestation mine because we didn't really talk too much on it. We kind of skipped over it,
That's
but
okay.
no, no, that's my fault too because we both started talking about the sheriff. Uh, it's good against big swarm decks like I use, so it's good against me. But other than that, it's you don't go against many big swarm decks really. There's not many of them, and the critters do get a lot of health. So I mean that's a plus. All right, so next is Inhuman Cannonball. I would put this as a B.
Yeah, I was thinking between A and B.
You know what?
Just, I think I'd probably agree with E and B because whenever I come up against it, it's usually against higher level players that I'm playing, and it's like level 13. Um,
You're just
and
singling out Elmas, dude. That's the only person I
yeah,
know that has a level 13 friggin'
yeah,
Inhuman
exactly. But
Cannonball.
but it can be countered fairly easy with Nightfall and like rear entry or yeah,
Shutdown,
shut down.
discombobulate array, right up there.
I think I think you're right first time. I think B.
Honestly, and I'm gonna say this for everybody that listens to this video, is the Inhuman Cannonball. I think is gonna be in a friendly battle is one of the best cards in the game. I think, but
Mhm.
only in a friendly battle. I can't say that it's good if you have that high leveled. It's easy to counter, but it's just like I don't know the amount of health it gets at when everybody's at even cards. I don't know. I feel like it'd be a very good card, but I haven't
Yeah.
used it enough, and I don't use it enough to use it in a friendly battle to actually know how to fully get the best effect of the Inhuman Cannonball. I tried it out, and it's just like I feel like people pull it off better than I do. So
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen a deck being run with like Inhumane Cannonball and Repairman down, which is really annoying because you
mhm.
think you've killed it and then that Repairman just pops up beside it and repairs it. But yeah, it's a lot of dough though, I suppose. Yeah, I think B's fair for it.
All right, so jetpacks next. I'll let you go first on this one. Where would you put it?
Okay, I'm going right. I would put it maybe in A, I think. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm tempted to say S, to be honest, but um,
I'd go S currently
yeah,
as well. The damage you get from the slam, it only costs two dough. You're in the air, and like as we've
yeah,
said throughout this air, there's not many things that target aerial units. And even if you're low level, if you play it smart, you can beat someone higher level just because you're using this because their units can't hit you. So
exactly. Yeah.
that's why I'd put it here.
Yeah, the good thing about the artifacts as well, everybody's in a level playing field. It's not as if you need to level them up. They're the same. Is that right? Yeah.
No, I think you do more damage if you're a higher level commander.
Ah, right, got you. Okay,
I
okay.
not 100% because I haven't been paying attention to that. That's a good question though. But I
I
feel like
think
you
you're
do,
right.
or maybe just you do. Actually, you might do the same amount of damage, but because your commanders are different health, it just looks different.
I think I read somewhere that Sir Your Bomb does more damage depending on your commander level. So you could be right with that. Might more do more damage. Yeah,
So
maybe
not
I'll
100%,
slam.
but I think that's a very good possibility.
Yeah, yeah. But I love
Uh,
using it. It's
when
just easy.
teleport was OP, it was super easy to counter this. If they went in for a butt
Hmm.
slam, you could just put the second part of teleport out, and if they ran through it, it'd kick them back and no effect of the butt slam.
Yeah,
I mean, it could still be used, but then you use the one tick of teleport to stop it, which is probably the best use you'd actually get out of that teleport card now. So,
that's true. Yeah, definitely. No, I love Jetpack for the fact that I play a lot of Killbot decks and Barbarics and things like that, and you can just jump up in the air and they're pretty much useless. So yeah, yeah. And then you get that like that's 4,000 plus damage you get from a slam
which is
when you
nice.
take out a
Just gotta
tower
watch out
on a
for
deck.
Witch. Basically, just watch out for Witch and you're fine.
Yeah.
All right, so next is Killbot. I put Kill.
Mm,
I put Killbot in B.
yeah.
He's a really good card. He's the only issue I put him in B is because you have to get him out 3 times to get his full potential. And it's
Hmm.
just getting lucky sometimes unless you're using the right cards. There's a kid, player Gaggio. He's the best kid I played against that used a Killbot cycle deck. Basically, what made me start using Discombobulate Array in my deck was because of him. And
Right. Okay.
that after that, this means nothing to me. Killbot is nothing at all anymore. So
Don't mind facing Killbot decks, but just because of the jetpack, you know. Okay, it does take out your ground troops, but I mean, the duel they are wasting on a card that's pretty much useless.
it only goes after units in the commander. That's it.
Yeah,
Plus, if you're using Jetpack, you can get away from Killbot.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
So,
because I get jetpack in there, they don't really scare me as much as what they used to. But yeah, I think B's fair.
all right. Next is Mad Scientist. I'd put her in S.
Yeah, still really strong.
Easy to counter for anybody using nighttime. If you don't have nighttime or napalm or anything to just destroy her right when she spawned, she's super annoying. She's unbelievably annoying.
Especially if they can stack them up, you know, and you get loads of freeze coming at you, and plus the double damage that you get for freeze troops. It's yeah, it's a really strong card.
And we're just saying S so the developers get on our good side, so we're on their good side. That's all. Because
Yeah,
they love Mad Scientist. They absolutely love her. That actually, I don't know if I paid the 99 cents. There was a 99 cents deal where you got one of her, some gems. That's the best deal I've seen. One one Mad Scientist card, and you got some gems and coins for $1. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll do that. All right, so next is Magic Missiles. Where'd you put it?
I think maybe B now. I don't know. What do you think?
I'd go B. I honestly
Yeah.
between B and C, but I'll go B.
Just thinking because the safety domes, I've seen loads of safety dome now, and the nerf the magic missiles as well. They're still good, but yeah, I think they're no as oppressive as what the ones were.
I'm gonna say this for everybody that uses magic missiles. I think the best use you will get out of magic missiles is to not use magic missiles at all while you have it in your deck, and then as soon as the commander is low enough health, pop as many bullets as you can right on top of him because he doesn't know it's coming, and you could probably kill him. And other than that, I don't see any use for it. You can keep popping towers all day long and wasting as much dough as you want because that just hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that for me, that is the only use out of magic missiles that I could see would be actually useful. Is just surprising your enemy by popping it if they don't see it coming.
Yeah, I like that idea actually. Just kind of keeping it till the end, and then once the commander's really low, just smack a bit 9 dough in them.
All right, so next is Magic Fire. I
Really like
I
Major Fire.
I put him A.
Yeah, I really like him.
I like him
I want
too.
him in my deck.
He's another
Yeah, I love him.
staple. He does good with the
Yeah,
nighttime, so
anything with
he's good because
nighttime.
he's up close and personal anyway.
Yeah, uh, it's just so good. It takes out swarms. A move I like using actually is with shutdown. If you've got a major fire walking towards the tower, sometimes you just think, oh, the tower's going to take it out. Just a quick shutdown in the tower, just for a couple of seconds. You're talking 3,000, 4,000 damage on the tower. It's really powerful. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite cards in the game.
All right, so next is the Mammoth card. I'm gonna let you rate it because I have not. I want to love this card so much. I love the whole idea of it, but I have not used it personally enough to put it anywhere because I want to get it a little bit higher in level first.
to start with, when I seen it coming out and I seen the clips of it, I was going to say A, but after using it, I would maybe put it in a B. I think for the dough cost, I was expecting it to be a bit more beefier, a bit more tankier. But I think it's a good card. I think they've got it balanced right, which is good. I don't think it's overpowered at all. Well, I suppose if there's two coming out of a clown cart, that's a different story. But yeah, I think it's fair. There is a lot of ways to stop it. I mean, Major Fire can take it out. I mean, it has got that freeze mechanic whereby it freezes the troops that's attacking it. But I think for 8 dough, it's quite a big investment. Um,
And
yeah,
I have a theory on it which failed. It says in the description that it targets commanders and buildings. So I
Mhm.
assumed if I threw myself in front of the building, it would hit me instead. It doesn't do that. So I'm guessing that that is only when both towers are dead.
Yeah, it'd be like the Zeppelin then, and I would imagine, once the two towers are dead, the Zeppelin attacks the commander, sort of thing. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think it's a nice idea. I like the idea of the card, and it seems quite fun to play. I like the fact that they brought it in where it was quite easy to get for everybody. It wasn't like, oh, I've got to wait and try and unlock this legendary. It was pretty easy to get, so there's a lot of people going to be running it. But for me, like we spoke about before, we like cycle decks. We like quicker card cycles. So it's not a deck. It's not a card that I'm going to put in my deck to play with, but it is fun.
I agree. I want to like it so much, and I do want to try to build a deck around it and see what I best combos with it because I
Uh-huh.
do want to see. I just my favorite thing I was just thinking about is that they were talking about in the video for the card when it gets hit by teleport that the more steps it takes it'll do more
Yeah.
damage. So I'm like, oh, that'll be good against teleport. And what did they do to teleport? They nerfed the crap out of
Nerfed
it.
them.
As soon as they released this card, they nerfed the crap out of teleport.
Do you know that it's immune to freezing as well? Like,
Yeah, it freezes
yeah.
units, and it's
No,
it's
but do you know that it's immune to freezing? Like,
yeah,
like
no,
with
yeah, I did know that it is immune to freezing as well. That's
yeah, yeah,
it's a very good card. I think it would be a if it was at least 7 dough just for what you get
yeah,
out of it. But 8 is a big cost and investment, and I think best used again would be when your opponent least expect it coming out. You just have to
yeah,
not show your cards and hold on
yeah,
to it. All right, so next is Minimander. I put it in D.
yeah. I was a bit underwhelmed by it, to be honest. I like the idea of it. I wanted to like it, but uh, it's just too squidgy. I think it just gets demolished too quick.
That
Um,
and I think the only real use out of it is just gathering dough quickly.
Couple of replays with sort of raging up the mini mander with the commander, but I mean, you're only going to get that maybe 1 in 10 matches, and it's going to work. So I think it's a bit niche.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next one.
Yeah, I'll let
Missiles.
you go on this.
All right. So me personally, when they had this card, if we had aerial units, would be one of the best cards in the deck. But now that they nerfed it, I don't agree. They got rid of the range, and it does cost only 3 dough. But I'm gonna put it here.
Hmm.
But honestly, what you get out of that card is fantastic. If they had more aerial units in this, this card would be so useful. It detects invisibility. It hits aerial units, and when it hits aerial units, it does AOE damage. So anything right underneath is going to be getting hit by the missiles. It just the ricochet of the explosion. It's like such a good card, but it just can't be used. And I do want to point out when I first downloaded this game, when I looked at the kid that was in first place, his most used card was the missile card. So before this game came out, I guess missiles might have been viable. I don't know. They
Hmm.
totally, but it's just it's not
Yeah,
good enough now where it can be anywhere. Just because it's not anything it can really hit. You have to be lucky.
yeah. You need to really be coming up against a Zeppelin Chopper deck for it to be effective,
Mm-hmm.
don't you? But yeah, I would agree. I don't use it on.
Maybe when that clown card comes out, you might see something different. And the invis card that makes troops
Yeah,
invisible, you might
yeah.
see an uptick in missiles. It's possible, but
Hmm.
until then. All right. So next is monkey on your back. I put it here.
It's really good. Yeah, it's just both aspects of that artifact are just really, really good. I mean, I love slowing the enemy down whenever he's coming in, raging up, and you can just slow him right down, stick a major fire on him, and put a mug in his back. You know, and it takes so much damage, and if you're running shutdown, you could actually get a sneaky win in the first like 30 seconds or something. So, and obviously you've got the bananas aspect as well. You know, I love using Cybok, and Cybok, the commander in bananas, is just unbelievable. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that's definitely an S tier card.
Yeah, especially the combo I said earlier too with bananas
Yeah,
and the bees. I'm telling you, use that one time, man. You'll surprise somebody. They'll die so fast. It's the funniest thing in the world. It's just they've ripped
okay,
through them. Oh my god.
okay.
I think that's the
Yeah,
fastest damage output in the game if you pair bees with bananas. To be completely honest, um,
yeah,
if you do it as soon as they're not using rage, like underneath your tower, if you can get that on them and make sure you get it on the commander and not anything near it, you'll just wipe the commander so fast. It's funny.
okay, cool.
Mr. T. Mr. T's next. I'm calling him Mr. T because I always forget his name, Mr. Boom.
Mr.
But
Boom, Mr.
he's
Boom.
he's Mr. T. Let's all be real here.
Change My clan uses him, Punisher, and he seems to get quite a lot of success. Yeah, he seems to do pretty well with him, but it's not a card that I rate at all.
I like Punisher, so I'll give it a C.
Yeah,
Like, I was gonna give it a
level.
D, but
I'm gonna give it a D, even for Punisher.
yeah, screw you, Punisher. Like,
But yeah, I don't. I think for the dual cost and what he does is like, there's so many other cards you can use to get the same output. You know.
I want him to be good because I like the
Yeah.
card. I really like the card. I think it's a great card. It's just it's so hard to pull off. It's ridiculous.
Mhm. Exactly.
Speaking of cards that are really hard to pull off, Mr.
Yeah.
Poof, I want to love this card too, but I would give it a D. Where would you put it?
I totally agree. D. Yeah. I love coming up against Mr. Poof decks and anybody that's running that because I've got so much splash in my deck. I love it. Major Fire just destroys them. Yeah, yeah. I don't see the viability of that card.
He's annoying.
Um,
The damage isn't there. Um,
mhm,
Maybe if they gave him like a little bit more of a damage buff, but I don't know if that would make him broken at that point.
mm,
But yeah, where he's at, I'd give it 100%. That's where he belongs as D.
yeah.
All right, so next is Mrs. Rex. Um,
Mm.
I'd put her
I,
C.
I was going to say C as well, to be honest. Yeah,
She's really easy to combo. A lot of new players, what I see is they go right after Mrs. Rex, but you don't really need to go after Mrs. Rex. All you need to do is go after the eggs. So you can keep
yeah,
attacking her, but as soon as she pops an egg, just stop attacking her and attack the egg, and you're going to be fine.
exactly. Yeah, I think for the dual cost as well, it's sort of a big investment for what you're getting out of it. Um, and as you say, it's pretty easy to counter once you know what you're doing. Just take out those eggs and you're okay, you know. And then what I like to do is just take out the eggs and then just stick a major fire in Mrs. Rex and it's gone within seconds.
Plus, you can shut down the egg if it's about to hatch and run up and just kill it, and nothing
Yeah, yeah,
spawns anyway. All right, so I wanted to, I this card I wanted to talk about so everybody hears. I think
yeah.
this update that this card is the funniest thing in the world because it makes it. I don't know if you read the update. Let me go pull it up real quick, actually. So where is it? Napalm now deals 200 initial damage and 100 damage every 12 seconds. Sounds like a huge initial thing with that extra 200 damage, but it used to be 50 damage every zero point 0.5 seconds for 12 seconds. So anybody that just uses their head will realize that it is dealing the same amount of damage as it did before. Except you get 200 initial damage instead, but they also reduced the overall radius of the card. So I mean, I'd put it here.
Mhm.
C. I'd put it between D and C, to be honest. Where would you put it? We could move it,
So
but I'd put it there.
me, honestly, I'd put it. Yeah, I would go C or D. I'll be quite happy with it being in D. I think that again, there's other cards like Snipe and that you can use that can do much better. I
I
think
just think
with
C
Napalm.
because of the uptick of cheerleaders and like
Yeah,
that, and just being able to counter cards that way with Napalm. by ticking it away. I think that's useful. Plus, you can stall the enemy commander from getting their dough for a short
That's
time.
true.
Yeah, it's funny how they put that in there. It made it sound like it was gonna. It makes it like when you first read it, it sounds like it's a buff. 200 initial damage, 100 damage every second for 12 seconds. But it used to do 0.5 damage. It's just, no, that's just still doing 100 damage a second. It's so, like. All right, so No Riot Pete is next. I'd say here.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
annoying. Discombobulator Ray gets rid of him.
Yeah.
You can counter No Riot Pete. He is annoying though. I will give him that. The one big flaw I hate about him though is he goes out of his way for enemy troops, man. I don't know if you noticed, but if you
Yeah.
spawn an enemy troop in the other lane, instead of going at the tower, he just dips into that other lane going after that enemy. And I'm just like, oh, all right, that's not what I want you to do. But all right.
He is easily distracted, isn't he? But he can be annoying. But uh, like you, I've got a few things in my deck that can take him out pretty quickly. So yeah, I would say C.
Yeah. Next is what the hell is this card called?
Overclock.
Thank you. I put a B only because of the dough cost, and it is beneficial getting like 10 seconds or 12 to, depending on the level, just a chunk of time taken off of when your towers come back for you to use, especially if you're going against shutdown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people have been raving about this card. I think it's only one dough, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it only costs one.
Yeah, I've not personally used it that much, but when I have used it, it seems useful, especially near the end game. If you've still got your health tower, you can sort of get that health back. You need it, and also if you need a quick rage sort of well, so it has got its uses, yeah, definitely. But I'm with you. I would say B's fair. I think it's pretty balanced.
Just for what it gives you, yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Do people really complain about this card? Or like say good when you meant by rave? I'm sorry if I misinterpreted that.
Rave, I sorry that I means good.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Now everybody that listens is going to think I'm an idiot.
No, it's just your accent. They're gonna laugh at.
All right. So next up is the preceding plant. I know where I'd put it. Where would you put it?
Off the screen, please.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking. We're gonna put him there because that's where he belongs.
That's exactly. Yeah.
I guess like the buff was a cool idea. Every time it kills a unit, you get a dough. But like it takes a while to kill a unit. Even a little piranha, it takes a while to kill. So meh. Like
I think the likes here, Discombobulator, Ray, and Troop Trap just did the job so much better, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So next is Piranha Surprise. I'm biased here. I'd put it in C, but I think it really belongs in D.
Yeah, I was going to actually say between B and C. I don't know. I've not used it, but no, I was going to say between B and C, but
Okay.
because when I've come up against it, I don't know. It just seems to be quite useful with shutdown.
It's useful with shutdown, which not a lot of people use though. But you can also why I put it here is just because you can drop it anywhere on the map, which is useful. But
Yeah,
it's only two little piranhas that spawn out, and I
yeah,
mean, like you can get some good chunk of damage if you pop it in the corner. But like they're relatively easy to get rid of.
hmm
I used to use it all the time just because of the quick cycle deck. Just going in there with the Psybuck and just running in there with one of my first
hmm
decks. Sounds like originally your deck is what one of my first decks sounded like. And
yeah,
basically, I'd drop Piranha Surprise, I'd shut down the tower, I'd stand underneath it, I'd drop Psybuck by the ramp so he'd pretty much teleport into the tower just to do that extra damage and go that way. And that's how I would
yeah.
attack towers.
hmm Just on the Piranha Surprise as well, I've noticed a few people I play Witch in my deck. They, they sometimes drop it on the Witch counter as well. Can take that out. So just for a couple of reasons, I might just get. I would give it a C. I think that's fair.
All right, next is Bunch of Piranhas. I put these in B. I'm biased too because I do use this card, but they're very easy to take care of. But if you do it right, it's that's a lot of damage coming out if you can get that going, and
Yeah.
it's a very nice card, I think. So I think you get 4 dough for a bunch of literally a bunch of piranhas. No, not funny.
Yeah, I think that is fair, and you're right. I think once you work out what your opponent's got in their deck, and you know when to use them, like say your opponent's only splash cards, maybe like Major Fire or something like that, and then
Mhm.
it's out of cycle, you can get a lot of damage just by rushing in with the commander and your Piranhas. So yeah, I think B's fair.
All right. Next is Dan. Originally, he'd be here. Then
Yeah.
but now I put him more here.
He's certainly not as oppressive as he once was. I still don't like going up against Repairman Dan decks, but um, yeah, I think B's fair. It definitely used to be probably one of the best cards in the game, if not the best. But
You literally, in my opinion, one of my friends, Hunter, that plays this game, we talked about this. He disagreed with me. I thought, like, originally when I was first playing this, and like before, like the seasons came out, and Dan didn't get his nerf. He was like a must have. When I played against Lamb, Noob, anybody like that, like he was a must use in decks.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now I don't really need to use him anymore. But it's the what hurt was his initial heal. When they took away that initial heal to the tower, and that's what hurt him. He's not intimidating anymore, and going against him is really not a big deal. All right, so next is Rex, and I know Rex is another staple in this game, but I think I put him here.
Yeah, I think C's, isn't it?
And the only reason why he's in C is because of just getting him out of the egg.
It's too easy to take out.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like getting the eggs, getting rid of the eggs is pretty straightforward if you can do it right. And yeah, I think C's fair for him.
Oh, by the way, while it's in my head, I use Rex with that beehive banana combo because I would basically put the Rex egg there, so I would bait them to come underneath the towers.
Ah, okay,
So just a tip.
nice,
like,
nice.
I didn't even care if he came out. It was basically just bait. Which is
Excellent.
actually a good cut. If anybody there can think of a good way, it only costs 4 dough, and he is a bait card. They have to take care of that
Mhm.
card. I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, he's easy to kill. Plus, you can stall him out in lane. All you have to do is put your commander in front of him, and he just stops to attack the commander. If they made it where he just kept walking towards the tower like Zeppelin, he'd be a lot better. But
yeah,
that's where he goes.
yeah.
All right, so Bubble Shield's next. I would put it honestly. I don't use it. It's very useful, but I think I'd put it in A.
I agree. Ace where I was going to say as well. It's used a lot. I think it's a lot better than Rod for protecting your units at the back. Um, Even in the middle of the map, if somebody's coming with a 1-800 airstrike, you can just put that bubble right over for 2 dough and protect all your troops. So I think it is a very, very useful card.
Plus, it costs 2 dough. It's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so next is one of my other favorite cards. So I don't know if this is biased for me, but I'd put it here.
Yeah, I'm putting in D because I want them to buff it. So
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's where it goes. It sucks. Get rid of it. God no. Oh,
uh,
man, if they nerf
no,
this card, I'm gonna be so sad.
no, I love it. I think it's fantastic for 2 dough. You can catch commanders out so easy if they rush in and they're just planning healing up. If you get that shutdown right, you can just win the game sort of instantly. And shutting down the towers, I said, with that cyborg or major fire coming towards it, it's yeah, just so versatile. And for 2 dough, quick cycle.
This is definitely a biased tier make tier list right here.
First time I've ever seen cyborg in tier A. That's for sure.
Why did everybody? Where did they put Cybuck? Because I think Cybuck's a
Uh,
great card.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think most other people's put it in like C. I think the highest it got was B.
They're crazy. They don't know. They don't understand the
Yeah,
ways of the
they
Cybuck.
don't get
All
it.
right. So next is Sir Bomb. Honestly, again, I use this card, so again, me biased. I'd be up here, A or S.
Okay,
But where would
okay.
you put it?
I mean, see, to be honest, I've faced it a few times and I've lost both times I've faced it recently. So I'll bow to your knowledge here with this one.
All right. So
Um,
I think I'm gonna leave it here. But the only reason why I'd put it in A is because just if they have Witch. If they have Witch in their deck, that's the only real downside to having this card.
so do
Um,
you get cursed by the witch if
yes,
you?
if you run into it. But now see on the other hand, if you're using Witch, and you drop Sir Dynamite on them, and they blow up with the Sir
Uh-huh.
Dynamite there, then
Okay.
they take the witch. And I actually got a double witch on somebody, which melted
Right.
them
Okay.
so quickly, and I don't think I'm ever gonna pull off again. But basically, I had a witch out. He put teleport right in front of my tower, and I had another witch walking down lane. So it knocked back, and by the time it knocked back, both witches were underneath him, and the dynamite
Wow.
blew up, and he took out both witches. So he got the curse, the double curse.
That's so much damage.
Oh my god, it was. It was bad. I said good game right there. Just like, yeah, that's done. Because he just used his health tower. So it was just like, yep, all right, bye bye. That was the
You
highlight of that card for me.
using it more?
But like
I
this
really
card's
use it.
great for people that use against jetpack. Um,
Hmm.
because you can drop if they're annoying you with that and you can't hit them and they have low health, you can just keep cycling to this card and dropping dynamite into their hands and just
Yeah.
making that do damage to them. Paired with my snipe that I can keep hitting them
Snipe.
with. Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
just like that's why.
Cool. Okay. Top tips.
Plus, it can get rid of buildings. It does chunks in the bunkers. Does chunk to the inhuman cannibal. It doesn't really kill them. But like fish tank and beehive, you'll one shot it. So I mean, it's useful against that. Teleport, you can be countered by a teleport. But other than that, I think it's a really good card.
Yeah.
It only costs 4 dough, and basically you could kill a whole swarm off with 4 dough that cost them 6 dough. It is. I think I think it's well worth it. It's a very nice card.
Yeah.
Which they need to put more artifact cards in this game, or they need
Yeah.
to give me like something in compensation for the amount of dough the purple shards I have.
Yeah. You must have hundreds.
I
Must be
have. Let me go
millions
look
of them.
right now. I have 377. If you want some,
Wow.
I'd give them to you because that
Get like
zero use
99.
for that. All right, so next is shuffle.
You quite like this. Well, you did last month when we spoke. You said about sort of
It's
meeting
not
your
like
expectations.
it's a fun combo. It's in certain situations. It's fun to pair with the fish tank. It's fun to pair with other cards, but honestly, I think I'd leave it here.
Yeah.
It costs 1 dough. It's but you get a random card that's gonna get drawn, so you can like flip out. It's good for like killbot cycle decks and
Combo.
stuff like that. So then
Yeah.
people that use those decks are gonna be like saying, "Why did you put this in C? Should at least be in B?" And I'll be like, "No."
Yeah. It's situational, isn't it? It's like, yeah,
You can
dependent.
it's just like you can do it. You can take away something, put it. I tried comboing it with a mini mander to get two mini manders next to me. It didn't really do anything special for me, so that was tough enough. So I didn't care anymore. All right, so next is
Okay.
Snowflake. Honestly, they gave it. They didn't. They like nerfed it and buffed it in like the same sense.
Yeah.
They they
They
they
nerfed the range, didn't they? Was the range nerfed?
they
Or,
nerfed the range, but they took down the dough. They took the dough cost. It only costs
yeah.
1 dough now. But I think
Yeah.
I'd put it here.
Yeah. I actually used it last week because they had the build it challenge. I don't use a building in my decks. It's a cycle card. It is handy for a cycle card, but I think you're right. I mean, not something I'm going to be rushing to put in my deck, you know.
All right, so next is this little guy, the spell grounding rod. Where would you put him?
Personally, I would say C, but I don't know what your thoughts are. I just feel as if well, my deck is really easily countered.
I agree.
Um,
I go C. Nighttime easily counters him. Anybody that doesn't know, nighttime will completely reduce his range. So if they got him right next to the tower, you use nighttime, then you use shutdown right next to the tower. You shut down the
mhm.
tower as long as you're not right over the guy when you use it. But you wipe that out. He was good with Vanguard decks. He's good with the cheerleaders if you're using cheerleaders, but he doesn't really have many uses besides that.
No, no, and I think Safety Dome does the job a lot better.
Yes,
You know,
it lasts a
yeah.
lot longer too. For some, it feels like it does at least.
Mhm.
All right, so next is Tank Arena. Honestly, here
Still needing some love, isn't it? They reduce the duel by one, I think, down to six.
I like the idea of her, but she's with the cards I use. If you're not using the right cards, she's a problem. But if you're using the right cards, any like cards that counter it or just to chunk it, like with Sir Bomb, discombobulate array or anything. You could use there's so many things to stop her from going. Plus, like, you'll slow her down even more if you put a building out in front of her when she's coming down the lane, because then she'll go into her tank
Mhm.
form and just start shooting it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, easily countered. And now the big talk right here is teleport.
Here we go. Here we go. What do you feel? You've been saying.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
It's here now. It's utterly useless card, in my opinion, now.
Hmm.
Before the initial nerf of making it 5 ticks, it was S. With the 5 ticks, I would
Yeah.
still keep it in S. Without that tick,
Yeah.
I'd put it down here. You have one, you can launch yourself across the map, cool, whatever to that, to be really honest.
Uh-huh.
But just having that one tick is just not helpful anymore. And I think they should just go back to the timer, like I told you earlier. They should go,
Yeah.
it should be 10, it should just be 10 seconds. It lasts for 10 seconds. I mean, I don't care. Maybe other people would care about that, but I think 10 seconds is super fair if it just lasted that.
It's more balanced. Yeah.
Which is, I guess, what they were trying to do. Because, like, if you didn't have this in your deck originally, you were just doing it wrong. Like, you had to have this card
Yeah.
in your deck originally. You could stop so many waves of people coming at you with this one card.
Hmm.
Because the teleporter originally lasted 20 seconds. When the second part of it lasted 20 seconds, which is a very long time. In one of my earlier videos, I said they should reduce it to 15 and 10. Then they did the ticks, which I'm like, kind of. But then I saw the usefulness of it just sitting there, and like you could stack them and stuff.
Yeah.
But now that they took away that, it's just, yep, put it down there. I think if they put it to 10 seconds, I'd put it here. I'd even put it in A if they put it to 10 seconds. B or A, I think.
Hmm.
Because, like, if you let, all right, let's just say, like the real use of the ticks where they put it on the dough barrel for your units just to keep
Uh-huh.
you from getting it. I mean, if you do it like napalm, where napalm lasts, what, like 8 seconds, whatever it is, 8 or 9 seconds, so your enemy unit can't grab it. If you did it for like that duration, that's fine. That'll stop like a few units from coming up the lane and knocking them back. All right, so next is True
I
Trap.
think I'll need to take it out of my deck now.
What teleport did I sell you on taking
Yeah.
you out of that deck? It's just not useful. I mean, if you use Jetpack instead and just keep that in there, you don't even need the rush. All right, so what you do, because I know you use a rush deck, you don't even need, just
Yeah.
walk up to the tower. You're going to see what, and if anything, you'll see what they drop. And then if you have to back out, and then just make your initial push when it's right. And
Yeah.
just get underneath the tower. Using shutdown at nighttime will even help you just to get up to the tower. But yeah, teleport's
Cool.
just useless now to me. All right, so next is Troop Trap. I'll let you go on this one. Where would you put it?
Right. I think I find it really hard to kill it. Like when it traps your troops, I think the timer needs to be like a second or a couple of seconds longer. I would put it maybe B, possibly A. I don't know.
I think I'll go B. I'd go B or C with this card.
Yeah.
Um, why I say that is only because its only use in my, like I said, I think I said, I don't know if it was while we were recording or not, but the only use for this card is getting a large unit in it. So your cost, so if you get a Mrs. Rex in it, it costs you 4 dough to put out a Mrs. Rex instead of
Yeah.
9 dough, but it costs you 8 to technically do it. Plus, you need to be wary that they can still get popped out of it. It is difficult to catch sometimes, but it can happen. So
Okay.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's just like if you use it on a witch, you cost 4 dough to get rid of a 3-star witch, and then you gotta put 4 dough to get it out, and if you don't, it's just sitting in your hand, and you have one slot that's just taking up space. So
Mm, true.
that's why.
I'm pleased you explained that because I was wondering why you rated Disco Ray, kind of Discombobulator Ray, higher than Trip Trap. So it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, because you could just use 3, get rid of the witch, and you're done
Yeah.
with her. You cost the
Yeah.
same dough to get rid of her. Troop Trap is, like I said, yeah, it's only good against anything that costs more than 4. I'll give it, if you want to pop it on like something 4, then fine. Go ahead. If you want to do it, it could work on Fish Tank too. You could drop it on a bee or a fish, and you can get that fish tank or whatever on your side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to watch out because you only get one piranha, and there's another one walking next to it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, with the Mammoth cards, I bet it's super useful, but not many people I have seen actually using. I think I saw the Mammoth card once, and that is it. I have not seen many people using this card yet. All right, so next is everybody's favorite card in the whole world, especially when you first started playing this game. I'm sure everybody hates it until they learn how to play against it, but it's Van Gun. Where'd you put Van Gun? I know where I'd put Van Gun.
Van Gun, I'd probably put him in C.
I agree. I'll put him C.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Um,
infinite range. Costs.
hmm
I mean, he's nice to use, but he's easily countered knowing how. But if you leave
Yeah.
him alone, you're just screwing yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And paired with the right cards, and if you let them build up that cheerleader sort of bubble at the back, it can be very obnoxious. But yeah, I think he's quite easily countered.
Yeah, basically, you could drop a witch too, which is one of my favorite ways
Yeah,
to get rid of a
that's
Van
what
Gun.
that's what I use Witch. I used to use Witch in my deck all the time for that reason, because I was coming up against so many Van Guns.
All right. So speaking of which, she's next. Obviously, she's there. She's such a good card.
Two witches can take out a tower, I believe. Two witch
Yep.
curses take out a full tower. Yeah, just a great card. What I like to do, I was actually watching one of your videos earlier as well, is go in with Cybok and my commander in one lane, and then put the witch in the opposite lane, and then they've got to deal with that, you know. So it's just sort of that dual lane pressure that you can use with it, and it needs an answer basically.
You do have to spend something on her, or you're just
Yeah.
screwing yourself 100%. What another combo you can also do with her, if you pair her with what I like to do. I don't use Witch right now in my deck, but
Uh-huh.
what I used to do is I used to have Witch and Caveman. I still have Caveman, but I used to pair these two
Uh-huh.
together. So when I went against the deck like yours, where they rush my tower and they just pop Rage, what I would do is drop Caveman right behind
Uh-huh.
them, and then drop Witch right on top of the Caveman. So like
Yeah.
almost everybody's instant is to turn around and just start wailing on the Caveman, because the Caveman does a lot of damage if you leave him alone.
Yep.
And they get the curse on them. And basically, I use shutdown on their health tower while they're doing that.
Uh-huh.
That cost me 6 dough, and I basically just killed the enemy because I'd pop rage and just start shooting him. And
Yeah.
like you can pull a quick one on somebody very easily.
Definitely. I love doing that with the witch, just like getting it right down beside the health tower whenever the
Mm-hmm.
commander's raging on it. Yeah. And then using shutdown. I think it's a great combination.
Which is definitely deserving of being there. All right, so next is Yetlings. Originally here, I'd put it here.
Yeah, they're still good. A lot of the top players still run them. And obviously they've got that freeze mechanic in there as well. What are they, 3-0 now, I believe
They
it's
are
3.
3 dough. That's why I put them in
Yeah,
A. And they got a little bit less
yeah,
health.
yeah, yeah. But they still do their job, I think. I think they'll still have
They get rid
decent
of
cards in the
waves
game.
that you're dealing with.
Uh-huh.
It is they're a good card still. I took them out of my deck since they put the 3 dough cost on it. It didn't pair well anymore from what I was using.
Uh-huh.
Plus, not a lot of people are using fish tank decks anymore. So at least I haven't
True.
noticed fish tank decks as much as there were. But
No, definitely not. I've not noticed as many. It used to be every second deck I came up against, it was a fish tank, but now you're lucky if I see 1 in 10, you know. So yeah, my Yetlings are pretty low leveled. It's not a card that I've leveled up, so I've not really used them, but I think they'll still get their place.